This is the Taico battery. So I'll be unboxing this and also be comparing with this Power Mister battery. Let's go. The size comparison is similar. So one, two, then extra one. And it comes with this QR code. Let's check. First, the Power Mister. So this is the Power Mister. You can see the Power Mister is saying 9.8 kg. Then the Taico. Okay, so you can see the Taico weighs 10.5 kg. So sometimes feelings is not the best way to judge. So let's check again. So 9.8 for Power Mister, and again, so two times now we've tested 10.5. So before capacity testing, I want to see the inside of this battery as well as compare it to the other side. So now we have this. So see the BMS, see the cable. Okay, so this is a closer look on the cell. So you can see it's 4S. Okay, so I don't know the name of this BMS actually. So I don't know the name of this, but it can do, you see, 100 amps. So it can do 100 amps charge and discharge. So we need to cut this out. Oh, all right, so everything is scattered. Okay, so you can see the cells. Okay, this looks great, looks like new cells as well. So you can see this is the battery. Okay, so they put some spacing inside, and you can see this is built okay as well. Okay, so let's compare the batteries. Okay, so I'm unable to scan with this phone. I think the camera is not sharp, so I will type the QR code manually. CBF. Okay, so the information we have here is that these batteries are great power cells. Okay, so you can see they use great power cell. Okay, so these cells are manufactured or produced in 2021. Okay, so this is Taico batteries and this is Power Mister battery. So you can see the shape and size is different. Okay, so this uses rep cells. So we have rep cells here and we have uh, great power cells here. Okay, so this is a bit wider. Okay, so this is a bit wider than this, but this is longer, but this is shorter. Okay, so you can see, let me scan this QR code again. I scanned it previously. Okay, this is not also scanning. I think my camera is so bad. Okay, okay, so this is scanned. So you can see this is rept cells. Okay, so rept cells, and you have the production date as 2023. Okay, so I reviewed this last year already. So that is it. I've introduced this now, so this can tell me the cell voltages. Okay, so I'll be using this to check when the cells we cut off from charging. So I'm about to add the charger now. So this is a 14.6 volt charger, 20 amps. Okay, and you can see this is connected. So you can see this is the cell voltages at the moment. The cells are pretty much at this time. So let's turn on the charger. Okay, so the charger is on now and you can see the voltage rise a bit. Okay, so the voltage rise a bit because now we are charging. Okay, so we'll be back to see when these batteries will be full. This is the cell voltages. So you can see the cell voltages is still around 3.4. It just stays there. So this is one thing about lithium batteries. So when they are charging, they usually stay at the same volt, almost at the same volt for all the charging period, because the voltage curve is very flat. This is a very interesting stage I don't want to miss. The cell difference here is looking great, not bad at all. You can see 3.5 at the top and you have 3.6 at the lowest. So we have the cell difference of 40 millivolts. 40 millivolts difference. Okay. Yeah. So if it's 50 millivolts difference now, 50 millivolts difference. Okay, that's subtracting the lowest from the highest. Okay, so this is interesting. Okay, so you can see this is where things becomes interesting. So it's still charging. Let's see the maximum voltage this will charge to before the cutoff will happen. Okay, so still going. So you can see one of the cell is already going above 3.5 while the other is still at 3.46. So let's see, one of the cell is running off as we are already. Okay, so you can see 3.6 but the other one is still at 3.45. Okay, so you can see here that we have 3.625, 3.63. So we're able to charge to 14.26, which is not bad. Okay, so the cell has cut off at 6.5. Okay, 3.65. Okay, so it has resumed charging again. Okay, so there is a over voltage release, so it has released and start charging again. So let's see, so it's going up again. Let's see where it will cut off. Okay, so let's see where it will cut off. So you see 3.65 is where the over voltage protection kick in. So you can see the voltage is dropping. Let's see what voltage it will recover and start charging again. See, it's showing full because the charge MOSFET is off, and you can see it's dropping so fast in voltage. So once it drops to, let's see, so it recovers back at 3.55. That's interesting. So it's charging again. Okay, so you can see it's charging again. So it's charging back up again. So you can see, so the balancer is kicking in to drop the voltage, and once it reach recovery to charge up again. So it's good to allow your battery to charge at this stage in order to have a balanced cell. Okay, good. Okay, so I've wired this shunt, and also we have the voltage meter, so you can see both at the same time. Okay, so I'll try and capture this as much as possible. Okay, so you can see we have 13.6 there, we have 13.68 here. So you can see cell 2 is the one having the lowest voltage. Okay, so this is the settling voltage. So when you charge to 14.2, the voltage drops to about 13.7, which is the resting voltage. Okay, so I connected this inverter. I'll be using a bulb to test this time around because I don't want to disrupt the house load. Okay. Okay, so the aim of this is to run this battery to the lowest voltage possible. Okay, so let's see how it goes till the battery shut down. So if it shut down, if the inverter shut down first, then we're going to discharge it further with a DC load and see how far we can go till we have a shutdown on the BMS. Okay, so you can see the cell 2 is still on 3.3, and others is still above that, and you can see we are consuming 122 watts, and we'll be back when this shuts down. Okay, so we're checking now. So this is about 32 minutes into the test, and we've done 4.67 amp hours, and you can see the voltage is now very close again. Okay, so the battery have discharged to 3.3 volt range. Okay, so you can see all the voltage are now looking the same again. Okay, so the test is still going on. So right now we are 8 hours into the test and the battery voltage is at 12.9. Okay, so you can see the cell voltages are at 3.2 range. Okay, so you can see the cell voltages are pretty close. So let's see how it goes. Okay, so right now I will have to pause this test
because I won't be available when this will shut down. So I'll pause this test for a while, then we'll come back. Okay, so we're still testing. Now I had to reduce the load because that bulb I was using there to test blew up, both of them. So I have to reduce the load and use this bulb. Okay, so that bulb there, that's what I'm using to test now. So you can see here we have done 87.2 amp hours. Okay, so the test is still going strong. So you can see we have 3.2. So we are at the nominal voltage now. So 3.2 per cell, and you can see, yeah, so this is it. 12.8 volts, 12.8 volts. We've been testing for 10 hours now, 24 minutes. Okay, so let's see. Okay, so we're still testing, and here we have 1.28 kilowatt. Okay, so we have done the same energy as what this is rated for. So you can see 1.28 kilowatt hours, and if you check here, you can see 1280 watt hours. That's what this battery has done at the moment. Okay, and you can see here we still have capacity left because this battery is at 12.6. Okay, so you can see 12.6. So 12.6 volts, and we have done almost 100 amp hours. So this is the reason why it's good to cut off at 12 volts. Okay, so let's see what the capacity will be at 12 volts. Okay, okay, so let's see. So we have 13 hours 37 minutes into the test, and you can see we have passed 100 amp hours, and the battery is still way above 12.5. Okay, though this is a slow discharge, but you can see the cell voltages. Okay, so we have one of the cell that is dropping faster than the other already. So you can see that cell is dropping faster than the other. So you can see that is the same cell that was lower than others when we were charging it as well. Okay, so see 12.5, and we have done 101 amp hours. Okay, so this is already a pass, 1.3 kilowatt, and is still running. So let's see what capacity we will have at 12 volts. Okay, okay, so we are at 12 volts now. So this is 12 volts. We have done 104 amp hours. Okay, so the voltage is dropping very fast, and that cell too is still different from others. Okay, so it's dropping. So we have average volt of 3 volts here, and let's see when the inverter will shut down, then we can proceed to discharge till BMS shuts down. So we have 105 amp hours now, and the cell voltage is dropping so fast. So you can see, yeah, we are now below 3 volt per cell. Okay, so we are below 3 volt per cell now, 11.8 volts. Okay, so the inverter is yet to shut down. So 106 amp hours, and here you can see 2.9, and the other cell there is at 2.74. Okay, so watch this closely and see whether the inverter will shut down or the BMS will shut down. Let's see which one will shut down first. 11.1 now, we still at 106 amp hours, 5 amps there. So you can see here we have cell 1, cell 3, and 4 having very close voltages, but the cell 2 is still the one with the lowest voltage. Okay, so you can see there 3.581 and 3.859 on the other cells. Okay. In terms of appearance, both looks very new. Okay, so they are new cells, they are not used cell at all. So they are both new cells, but they just have their age difference. And if you check here, the terminal here looks thicker. Okay, looks thicker, and they used screws instead. Okay, so this the screw looks very sturdy. Even the terminal here, see, this terminal looks
study here. And see, this looks smaller. This great power has bigger terminals compared to this looks way smaller, and the bus bar is not as thick as the bus bars here. And also they have this hinge. Okay, so they have this hinge. So in terms of expansion on the great power cells, why this is just flat. Okay, so this is a very slow discharge test, and you can see it's dropping very fast. So you can see the cells 2.48. Okay, so 2.48. Let's see where this BMS will cut off. Okay, so the cutoff is running pretty fast. Okay, let me see if I can adjust this so that we can see both at the same time. I'm trying to adjust. Okay, so I'm trying to get both on the same picture. Okay, so let's see. So this is the end of the discharge. One cell already dipped to 2.4 and the others are very matched. So I believe this cell too just need a small balancing. Okay, so if there's a small balancing there, it will catch up with the others. So three cells are balanced, one of the cell is not balanced. So our battery is almost doing 1.4 kilowatts and is rated for 1.28 kilowatts. Okay, so 10.6. That cell is going 2.0 shut down. So the BMS shuts down. Okay, so the BMS shut down first. See, the BMS shut down and this has regained. So the BMS shut down at exactly 2.2 volts. Okay, so 2.2 volts, which is the standard for all these cells without smart BMS. So their default, just like we have on JBD, the JBD video I made before now, it's the low voltage disconnect is at 2.2, and you can see the same as applied here. So it dropped at 2.2 volts and the PMS shut down. So it's not outputting anything again. That's why this screen went off. Okay, so that's good. 107 amp hours slow discharge. So I'll be doing a faster discharge, 1C discharge. Okay, so I'll be doing 1C discharge next in the next video. See, maximum continuous charge, they say that charge and discharge is 1C. So I'll be testing that out and let's see what capacity we'll be getting from there. Okay, so I will have been able to use a fast discharge, but this, you can see that bulb there blew up. So I had to use LED light, which is 40 watts, and made this video take longer. It took about 15 hours to do this test.
Okay, so I drained this battery to 2.23 before now. That was way below 2.5. After about 1 or 2 hours, the battery has returned back to 2.6. Okay, so and the BMS is still shut down.